Yo. This is my house, y'all. Welcome to MTV Cribs. Come inside. I'm sort of a homebody to a ridiculous extent, but I like it better at home. This is a really sort of unbelievable place that my mom and I just moved into. I'm really worried, actually, that we're in this new house because once I finally adapt to it and become comfortable here, I'm frightened that I will never leave this place. I grew up with my mom. This is my favorite stuff, is family photos. We always lived with other people or had other people staying with us or other family members. I was taught from a very early age to make wherever I am feel like home. Wherever my mom is, wherever my heart is, really home. So I sort of can't believe that we actually live in a house with like dressers and drawers where there's a place for everything. There's even a pool here. And the bathroom is incredible. I've always found sanctuary in the bathroom of wherever we were living, whether it was a house or an apartment. I remember sleeping in the bathtub when I was a little girl. I thought it was really just private and nice. I'm gonna be so embarrassed by this when I see it.
It was the one thing that she was always said, I'm going to die young. And it was something that she almost knew. I can't say that there was any conspiracy. I can't say that things were wrong. All I can say, for me personally, things did not add up.
In the first few segments, we summarized Britney's life and the bulk of her career, some of her apparent relationship struggles, and the series of unfortunate events leading up to her death. We weighed in on some of the possibilities, of which there are still more we've yet to discuss. We know she was fairly isolated nearing the end, and there were few who were close to her in those final months. One major change in her life that seemed to be the benchmark of her downfall was when Britney had fired her team and Simon had taken over, thus introducing her to some of his own people, like Harley Pasternak. But who is Harley P? And how is he still such a revered personal trainer by some of the most well-known celebrities of our time, with so many lives disrupted and or lost in his wake? What exactly was the purpose he served in these people's lives, since he seemed to be a lot more involved and a much heavier influence than with just their diet and exercise regimen? When the can of Pasternak Pringles popped, the fun didn't stop. The entire internet was on the case, digging deeper into the man whose name kept popping up in the most precarious of places. This first clip I'm going to show you, please don't be alarmed. This person is sort of an amalgamated parody of Kanye's Lore and Secrecy, where during certain interviews he's wearing a full body and face suit, I think is what she's going for. I'm not 100% sure, but do not let the silly outfit distract you. Her research and information is good.
Guys, we're about to deep dive one of the craziest stories that happened. I've been following Ye's posting journey since February, but what he tweeted yesterday is something that needs to be discussed and analyzed. The truth about Harley Pasternak. Pasternak.
Harley Pasternak. Harley Pasternak.
A name that many of us had not heard until yesterday, when Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, sent out a tweet that alarmed most people. What should be obvious by now is that I was raised to stand for my truth, regardless of the consequences. So I will say this again. I was mentally misdiagnosed and nearly drugged out of my mind to make me a manageable, well-behaved celebrity. Was Harley trying to help Ye? Or is Harley controlling Ye? All of the comments were exploding, calling Harley a handler. I've heard the word before. I wasn't super familiar with it. I Googled it. All I found was Chelsea. Like everyone else, I went and found Harley's Instagram. And all I found were videos of him telling the truth about different healthcare products, the truth about coconut oil, the truth about Diet Coke. Today, we're going to talk about the truth about Harley Pasternak. And what an impressive resume Harley had. I mean, the guy is no stranger to Hollywood, training almost every celebrity on the planet. Best-selling author, has been interviewed in almost every single magazine under the sun. Also has some military connections and a bunch of college degrees. And served as an exercise and nutrition scientist for Canada's Department of National Defense. So, of course, a lot of people did some digging because these were alarming texts. I think what most people wonder is, why does a man like Harley Pasternak have that much control over Ye? My personal trainer can barely get me to do a burpee.
Although the mainstream media had mostly ignored these finer details, independent media caught the fever for the truth, dissecting each and every clue that could unravel the whole fugly sweater.
If you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread as I walk away.
I think a lot of people just feel that there is remaining an unanswered question that Kanye brought up, which is, who is Harley Pasternak?
And the idea of handlers in Hollywood.
Yes, and are there other people like Harley Pasternak who are handlers for celebrities in this industry? And also, what was Harley Pasternak's involvement in Kanye's past or present breakdowns, as they're framed in the media? And I saw this tweet from Candace Owens recently where she said, "We also never discussed enough how absolutely insane the messages Harley Pasternak sent to Kanye were, and how crazy that Pasternak's career was not at all impacted by it." So that's why I wanted to use this video to piece together what we can, what is publicly available, to try to come up with an answer to that question of who the hell is this guy? But that's only what's publicly available, so the rest is up to speculation, I guess. A lot of people just walked away from it feeling like if there are Hollywood handlers or MK Ultra handlers in this industry, they would look like Harley Pasternak. They would have backgrounds like Harley Pasternak. He advertises his client list right there on harleypasternak.com. So let's look at some of the examples. Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kim Kardashian even, Will Ferrell, Amy Schumer, Adam Levine, Rihanna, Megan Fox, Miley Cyrus, Robert Pattinson, Jessica Simpson, Katy Perry, Tobey Maguire, Robert Downey Jr., Mac Miller, okay, that's kind of weird. Brittany Murphy, that's also kind of weird, kind of strange.
It also shows how long he's been around.
Lizzo.
Brittany Murphy died such a long time ago. It shows he's not new to this.
Yes, yeah. He's a long-time industry professional. He's worked with so many A-listers.
Like a regular contributor on like the Today Show and Good Morning America and stuff like that. He's what people in this industry call an expert.
But he lists himself as a fitness and nutrition specialist.
He's written 8 books. Trained
many high-profile clients for the past 26 years and has helped shape bodies for various film and television projects. And I saw that he even quoted Kim Kardashian on his website saying, "I live for Harley's smoothies. They're so easy to make, help me feel full, and they taste incredible."
Personal trainer on movies going all the way back to 2001. Halle Berry for tons of movies.
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich, tons of actors and actresses.
Right, yes. And according to his Wikipedia, he was born in Toronto, Canada, and he later moved to Los Angeles to pursue a career in the fitness industry. He graduated from York Mills Collegiate Institute and holds an honors degree in kinesiology from the University of Western Ontario and a master's degree in exercise physiology and nutritional sciences from the University of Toronto. Here's an interesting part. During his time at University of Toronto, Harley Pasternak served as a nutrition and exercise scientist at the Department of National Defense's Defense and Civil Institute for Environmental Medicine for 2 years, from 2005 to 2007. And as a scientist, he focused on performance physiology and nutrition with a specialty in caffeine and ephedrine. They list some of their research areas as human systems integration, social and psychological factors that affect the resolution of conflict, psychology of malicious intent, social and cultural factors influencing behavior, human performance in stressful environments. That's kind of interesting. It doesn't really sound like he's just looking into the, effects of drinking kombucha or
well, the interesting thing is, like, look, if the stuff that we'll talk about later doesn't come out, then sure, you could look at this as the natural progression of somebody who started in one industry and moved to another one that was more lucrative and certainly more front-facing with a lot more public exposure. But it's the text messages that we'll get into later that show you just how nefarious something like this could be and put the type of start that he had into perspective.
Tucker Carlson was one of few mainstream sources that covered this. And actually, I think this was part of what led to him stepping away from Fox and going independent himself.
November 19th, 2016, a week and a half after Donald Trump won the presidential election. So in the middle of the show, West stopped performing and started talking about politics. It was, to put it mildly, not the kind of thing you normally hear at a rap concert. And then, 2 days later, Kanye West was in the hospital. Well, at the house of his family's exercise trainer, a man called Harley Pasternak, West apparently suffered some kind of mental break. Pasternak called an ambulance to pick him up. West was taken away, and then he was sedated with at least 7 different psychiatric medications, including benzodiazepines, lithium, sleeping pills, and olanzapine. News reports suggested that West had experienced a profound psychiatric episode. He'd gone completely off the deep end. He'd gone crazy, and they've been saying that ever since. West, over time, though, told a very different story. In his telling, after what he'd said on stage in Sacramento, Harley Pasternak was trying to shut him up. Pasternak, he said, was not simply a trainer, but instead an agent of ideological control. Pasternak's job was to keep West from straying from the script, and he's willing to use powerful drugs to do it. That's what he said. But very few people took that claim seriously. In fact, it was exactly the kind of thing a crazy person would say. My trainer drugged me into submission. He's trying to make me into a zombie. Right. Sure he did. Have another olanzapine shot, Kanye. You look tired. So that's where the story stood until the other day. Nobody believed Kanye West. Then West posted something remarkable on Twitter, which for some reason virtually all of American media ignored, which is odd because media outlets are not usually in the business of ignoring remarkable things, but they did. And what he posted was a picture of a text exchange that he had had with Harley Pasternak. Pasternak was explaining that West had better stop saying, quote, crazy stuff. In other words, he'd better get back on script, or else he would be severely punished. Quote, second option, if you don't shut up, quote, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you, and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. End quote. Try, if you can, to imagine a more sinister threat than that, a more chilling threat than that. Do what I say or I will turn your brain to mush. I will destroy your relationship with your own children. I will send you back to, quote, zombie land forever. Effectively, I'll kill you. Now keep in mind, this is from West's, quote, trainer, not his physician. This is the guy he'd hired to help him do squats. A trainer? Really? Do they talk like that at your gym? Probably not. So what's going on here exactly? Well, according to his bio, Harley Pasternak, who is not denied writing these texts, once worked for the Canadian military, where he participated in experiments that measured the effect of various drugs on the human mind. Is that training relevant to this story? We don't know. We do know that based on this text exchange, which again, Harley Pasternak has not said is untrue or fake, on the basis of that, law enforcement agencies definitely ought to be looking very closely at Harley Pasternak, who, by the way, apparently has dozens of other celebrity clients, some of whom seem to be out there campaigning. Based on these texts, this looks like a crime. Why is no one investigating it? The fact that no one is investigating it tells you a lot.
Could it be just as simple as that? That Britney was sent to Zombieland, but due to whatever health complications, or there being some sort of a mix-up with whatever mind-altering cocktail, put her body into shock, and was never to return?
Baby, you're the best. I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I tried to hide from your love of light, but like heaven above me,
Despite the majority of the mainstream leaning into the Kanye is crazy narrative, he doubled down and continued speaking out on various podcasts, and whatever media would take a statement.
So, let me read this Harley text. This is how he was threatened. This is a trainer, but come to find out, he was actually Canadian intelligence, but this is my trainer. So this shows you the kind of handlers that are around the superstars in California, right? So it says, I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words. And everything that is discussed is based in fact, and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. This is the way a Hollywood trainer was talking to me to force me to go and like apologize.
I want to talk about like the Kanye West breakdown thing, is like MK Ultra breaking down and like how he was waking up and they try to like fucking put his ass back to sleep. You know, because you guys think like celebrities are like, oh, I want to be fucking rich, famous, but like, do you have no idea that when you sign up for that shit, you're more of a slave than normal people? Because normal people can still do shit. They're, you know, the only boss you have is like your boss at work, but like celebrities, like they have an illusion like they're all free and stuff, have all this money, but like literally they can't do shit. That's why they have like star whackers, because when you get out of line, like they'll whack your ass, you know, because like they're providing you so much money and fame and all this shit that you're literally, you gotta do what they tell you to do. And if you step out of line like Kanye West, like how he mind control was breaking down, he was waking up out of his like slave out of the puppet slave breeding that he's been through or whatever, like all the celebrities, like how I woke up a while back and I was like making YouTube videos like this, talking about all this, you know, the establishment, all that shit. Yeah, and then like they try to like star whack my ass, but like I came back as a goddess, so fucking joke's on you.
You think about if Harley was part of intelligence, right? What kind of people you think are surrounding my kids? What kind of people you think are in that house? This is all indoctrination. This is all mind control. You gotta understand, like I don't believe I'm putting myself at risk, because I think God uses me for a time like this. He put me in this situation and had y'all follow me from George Bush Don't Care to Beyonce Had the Best Video to now. For some reason, y'all are interested. 2 Chainz said, why sell belt buckle? Well, y'all niggas soul is looking. Like, y'all are interested for some reason. And they wanted to medicate me every day. You realize, like, they could have just switched to medication and I wouldn't be here. And on the news, they would have said it was because of a mental issue, right? Yeah. I ain't never been back to the hospital since 2015. But every time they say I'm crazy, it's just when I'm saying the truth. So what's the crazy part, really?
This young man, Augur, started connecting even more dots. And honestly, this was when I personally started to see more of a shift in how people viewed these sorts of incidents. A lot of people were starting to wake up, and even with the lockdowns throwing everyone's lives off course, so many things people were only speculating back then have since been confirmed.
And the exact people that I called out kicked my head. We found out that my trainer was a MK Ultra Canadian
Harley Pasternak.
Intelligence.
He worked in the defense research and development in the Canadian military, essentially working on PSYOPs in the Canadian military.
Exactly what I said.
Harley Pasternak.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, look, they tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me. And they when I asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears too. I mean, look at
they would have Michael Jackson
or worse, yeah. So look at what they did. Look at what they did to Britney. When she went in, she was tired, she was exhausted, she was in a bad way. But 10 years of that medication wrecked her brain. You can see it now. You can see there's not much of her left.
Another thing,
is Michael Jackson. How did Michael Jackson die? He brought up Michael Jackson. They're trying to Michael Jackson me. What does that mean? What's Kanye saying by they're trying to Michael Jackson me? Well, Michael Jackson died of cardiac arrest from a, like, cocktail of a bunch of drugs. A drug cocktail, right? It was supposed to break apart and just stay there, and then it dropped a little faster than it should have, right? It wasn't exactly free fall, but definitely that would hurt, all right? So that is what led to Michael Jackson eventually suffering from eating disorder, stress, insomnia, and then reliance on prescription medication, all because of this incident, right? So what I think here is Harley Pasternak is trying to start Kanye on this line. He's trying to make Kanye, the Jewish statements, into exactly what this video is for Michael Jackson, and eventually could lead to Kanye's death. We saw this with Aaron Carter, as I mentioned in the first video, the part 1 of this video, and as we saw with Britney Spears, who ended up going bald. A lot of people might not know this if you're younger, but back in 2007, Britney Spears went bald, and everyone was calling her a maniac, and she was also prescribed the shit out of because she decided to shave her head, and she wanted to feel free.
Now, what else did most of these people have in common, who appeared to go crazy or are no longer with us? We're going to get there, I promise. But we have a few more things to cover first, since it all connects in such a way.
What's the crazy part, really?
That they can't scare you, they can't control you, they can't... They try to suppress you, but that's how they try to categorize you.
They can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They could control Shaq. They could control Charles Barkley. They could control LeBron James. They could control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
It's up.
Not you.
You know what I'm saying? And just for Minister Farrakhan, I love you, but the way you read that, I took that as a slight. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking no disrespect from nobody, so let's get on the phone and let's talk that out. I don't care who you are. I ain't taking no slice from nobody, right? I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm Christian.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You know, out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
Funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with all my heart. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me. Not if you care for me.
Back in 2016, when Ye was hospitalized after making rants about Jay-Z and Beyonce on his tour, Ye was handcuffed and hospitalized.
The 911 call came in around 1:20 p.m. on Monday after West was reportedly acting erratically.
The ambulance picked him up from Harley's house.
Paramedics in the Los Angeles Fire Department rushed to the Hollywood home of his personal trainer.
Someone called 911, and they rushed Ye to the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center.
This morning, new details are emerging about Kanye West's alleged mental state as he was rushed to the hospital.
Ironically, the same place that Britney Spears and Amanda Bynes were put into 5150 holds.
The doctor called 911 and said that Kanye was suffering a temporary psychosis as a result of a lack of sleep and exhaustion.
The doctor at the time was Michael Farza.
West was being treated for sleep deprivation when his doctor reportedly called 911 saying he was psychotic.
The weird part here is that someone sold the audio to TMZ.
Heard on this fire department dispatch call obtained by TMZ.
Breath 911 psychiatric emergency, Lowell Avenue.
So someone sold the audio from the 911 call to TMZ.
E! Network, which airs her reality show, also confirms they did not film the 911 call and are not filming at the hospital. So it sounds like they're going through this in relative privacy, at least for them.
So then who leaked the ambulance call?
In Britney's case, her brother Tony Bertolotti had suspected that her mother, her doctor, and an editor of a major newspaper had conspired to gain control of her assets and estate, which in the end, those people were the controlling entities of her trust. So that would further suggest a motive to have wanted to keep Britney in an altered state. However, I do not believe they'd intended to end her life, if this were true.
All of Molly's all of her little idiosyncrasies are all, all of Molly's quirks basically are heightened, and very much so, as is the picture, in a hyper reality and being shot so lusciously and feeblistically. But she, all of those things about her are not things that I have in real life. It's definitely magnified in Molly.
He was trying experimental drugs on people's brains and testing the effects of that. So that is pretty interesting.
And when you say drugs, are that like performance-enhancing drugs? Or are they
all
just
kinds of drugs?
Right. Okay.
So working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was. So I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things.
So if you don't already know, Harley Pasternak was the same guy that put Kanye in the hospital in 2016 after he went on a long rant about the Clintons, Jay-Z, saying Google lied to you, Facebook lied to you, and calling for a complete disruption of the world order, he was saying, and people were calling him crazy.
Google lied to you. Facebook lied to you. Radio lied to you. Radio, fuck you. JC called me. Hey, bro, JC, I know you got killers. Please don't send them out my head. Just call me. It's a new world, Hillary Clinton. It's a new world. Feelings matter. Because guess what? Everybody in middle America felt the way, and they showed you how they felt. Feelings matter, bruh. It's a new world. It's a new world, Barack. It's a new world, JC. You might not like it, but they gotta hear it.
Guess what? Harley Pasternak was the one that took him to his house, and Kanye has said in the years since that happened that he was medicated out of his mind, that he was on opioids, and this interview that recently came out with Harley Pasternak could be telling him, saying that he's trying these different drugs in the military that aren't like everyday kind of drugs, that Kanye might not have even been on the drugs that he thought he was, and that could be looping back to the Zombieland comment that he's talking about.
Now, there was no apparent evidence that Britney was speaking up about anything, making any waves aside from she and Simon's disruptive and disjointed behavior on set. But could she have been on the verge of speaking out about something, whether it be her experience with Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, the Harrods department store magnate, something that had happened during her childhood, or perhaps there was something much bigger brewing behind the scenes?
Harley was also close to Mac Miller. Multiple articles state that the day Mac Miller died, he actually had a training session scheduled with Harley. If you go to Harley's website, Ariana Grande is the first celebrity under his celebrity clients. Ariana Grande actually introduced Mac Miller to Harley, and they started training together.
Thank you so much. This means the world to me. I want to thank Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider for giving me the gift of being able to play Cat Valentine. This character means more to me than you understand, and I'm so grateful. Thank you. And thank you to my fans. I love you.
Harley was quoted in multiple publications talking about Mac Miller and how wonderful of a person he was, saying Mac would be so pissed if he had died. So I was digging up some old tweets. On October 27th, Harley posted a tweet, "I really miss him." And then he links an article from yahoo.com titled Mac Miller's Drug Supplier Pleads Guilty to Disturbing Fentanyl-Laced Pills. As you remember at the time, a lot of people thought Mac Miller's death was suspicious. My takeaway from this tweet was Harley sharing with his audience, hey guys, this is what happened. So this was Harley's way of being like, this is what happened. This is the truth. So what does this all mean? I don't know. Look at me. Do you think, look, you're really getting your information from me?
To take things away from these celebrities and control what they're saying, control their actions, all by using these experimental drugs that people don't know the real effects of. And one thing here that Kanye said in another tweet, saying that he was afraid that his children would be taken away from him. And relating back to Aaron Carter, who, again, I'd like to say rest in peace. I don't want to, it's really, really tragic what happened to him. But it could be relating to that. He passed away on a drug overdose, and right before, a couple days before, he says, Kanye, let's talk man to man, right?
It's the tragic death of a young performer, and now family, friends, and fans around the world are suffering the loss. LA County firefighters say they received a call about a drowning. The LA County Sheriff's Department says a house sitter called 911 around 11 a.m. Saturday to report a man unresponsive in his bathtub. It was Carter. The dispatcher advised her to start CPR until deputies and paramedics arrived. Then emergency personnel pronounced Aaron Carter dead at the scene.
We are following breaking news here on Live Now from Fox. Singer Aaron Carter has been found dead inside his Los Angeles area home. This is according to TMZ. Now, the singer has died after an apparent drowning this morning. This is, again, according to TMZ. And a neighbor called paramedics to the home around 11 o'clock this morning to report a drowning. Now, according to LA County Fire, his body was recovered from the pool and he was pronounced dead on scene.
Deputies from Lancaster Sheriff's Station responded to the location at approximately 1100 hours regarding a rescue call. Information in the call stated the house sitter had found a male in the upstairs bathroom bathtub unresponsive. The house sitter was instructed to start CPR on the male. Upon arrival from deputies and fire personnel, the male was pronounced dead on scene.
With some reports saying pool and others saying bathtub, Aaron Carter is yet another sudden and untimely death that still doesn't sit right with me.
Is it possible that Harley works with tons of celebrities, and celebrities and artists are very complex individuals that do sometimes die in mysterious ways? Possibly. Unless we were actually there, no one really knows. Also, a comment that I noticed today, people were like, if Harley was such a bad guy that helped him get hospitalized in 2016, why does Ye still consider him a friend? He called him a friend on the Tucker Carlson interview. Why? Why does... Oh, so that begs the question, does Ye have the choice? Did Ye have the choice? Because if somebody arrested me and hospitalized me, I would want to be as far away from them as possible.
We're starting to get a better idea of how some of these A-list celebrities are managed, manipulated, and exploited. But for many, it began in childhood, and before the Disney sphere was fully formed, we had shows like the Mickey Mouse Club and Kids Incorporated, with the accompanying rumors and lore casting the same dark shadow over the childhood of this previous generation as it had with all the Disney kids who started speaking out these last few years. We witnessed in real time how Dan Schneider discovered and consumed the shining light that was a young Amanda Bynes. In a similar fashion as the stories told by generations that followed.
Hi, welcome to my jacuzzi. Today my special guest is the executive producer of The Amanda Show, Dan Schneider.
Hi.
Now, you're the executive producer of the show?
Yeah, I am the executive producer and I'm the head writer.
You actually wrote the words we're saying to each other right now?
Yes, I actually wrote this whole conversation that we're having right now.
I see. Now, since you're the executive producer of the show, can I have a race?
No.
Okay. How about I play the spaghetti?
Nah.
No?
I'm kidding, I'll have some spaghetti.
Hey,
Bring me the spaghetti! All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jeanette McCurdy, who starred opposite of Ariana Grande in Schneider's Sam and Cat, detailed the misconduct, abuse, and mismanagement by her own mother. and those who held her career in their hands. In her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, she refers to Schneider as the creator, with his identity only being revealed later as more of her peers began speaking up.
Well played, Grande. Well played. Wow.
Go to nick.com/Nesquik and break out the bunny.
We heard from Drake Bell himself that he had been victimized by Brian Peck, who continued working in the Disney sphere after serving time in prison for that crime.
One song that's been stuck in your head recently.
Probably Forget You, Sela.
Being hired on by the company that made its home at the same studio that a variety of children's shows, like Kids Incorporated, were filmed.
You'll be there to comfort me. Build a world of dreams around me. I'm so glad you found me. I'll be there as a friend that's strong. I'll be your strength, and I will keep holding on. I'll be there to protect you with an unselfish love and respect you. Just call my name, and I'll be there.
This one particular studio stands out for many different reasons that we're going to get into deeper in the next episode, as it relates to Britney directly. All of these various rabbit holes do converge into one great big cavern in the middle.
Red bricks crumble under my feet, a path that whispers a cursed heartbeat. Shadows stretch long, they know my name. Every step forward, it's all the same. The trees lean in, they're alive tonight. The moon's too scared to give me light. Follow the red brick road, they said. Where it leads, where it ends, no one's fled. It pulls, it drags, it swallows whole. The red brick road's got a price for your soul. Laughter echoes, but no one's near. A ghostly choir feeds on fear. Bricks are slick, they bleed, they gleam. Am I awake or trapped in a dream? The wolves don't howl, they just stare. Their eyes burn bright, they don't care. Follow the red brick road, they said. Where it leads, where it ends, no one's fled. It pulls, it drags, it swallows whole. The red brick road's got a price for your soul. The red brick road's got a price for your soul.
Britney also had a head-on collision with the Disney sphere in her early years, and perhaps her childhood wasn't as wholesome and charming as it had seemed on the surface.
Hi, Molly. Hi, Gregory. Hey, Jethro. Enjoy your little dip in the steamette pond? That's a Beverly Hillbillies reference, isn't it? Duh-huh. Well, then you should know that Jack Clampett came from the Appalachian Mountains, which run through the Virginias, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Whereas we come from Oklahoma, so you're repping Southern Roulette Plateau.
With her father doing hard time, and she and her mother struggling to make ends meet, she was forced to grow up way too fast.
Well, I don't know about a good student. I was well behaved, but
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good right there.
that's a good student.
Yeah, I think so. Sure. Yeah.
And jobs-wise, I would help my mom out at work a lot.
Although a bubbly and charismatic woman, Britney had a haunting past. And perhaps everything caught up with her all at once, causing a complete and utter explosion.
Though her father alleges in court papers that the coroner never tested her hair or other remains for poisons or heavy metals. Then, strangely, 5 months after the 8 Mile star's death, her husband also suddenly died under similar conditions.
Our theory is that they were poisoned, but
The rest, the investigators should look into and determine.
Now, a new toxicology report ordered by Murphy's father shows samples of the star's hair tested positive for high levels of 10 heavy metals. The lab which conducted the test suggested one possible explanation would be an exposure to these metals or toxins administered by a third-party perpetrator with likely criminal intent.
Brittany Murphy's death is highly suspicious. It is a report from an accredited laboratory. It cannot be ignored.
The LAPD refused to comment, but in a statement to ABC News, the LA Coroner's Office says, "We have not seen the results and nothing has been presented to us. We stand by what we ruled on the case."
She was a young and wholesome girl, so we want the record to be set straight and for Britney to have justice.
They had everything to live for, and it was snatched away from them.
This morning, an emotional plea from the mother-in-law of Clueless actress Brittany Murphy.
Don't cry. I'm sorry. I do think something is extremely wrong. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right.
Linda Monjack telling ABC News she wants a full investigation into Murphy's death and the death of her own son. Simon Monjack was married to Murphy and died just 5 months after she did, under similar circumstances.
That, to me, would have alarm bells. But nobody seemed to take that up.
Monjack's plea comes on the heels of stunning allegations made by Murphy's father, A.J. Bertolotti, who suspects his daughter did not die of pneumonia, as reported nearly 4 years ago, but was poisoned.
I absolutely positively think she was poisoned, yes. I'm calling for it to be exhumed, if necessary.
In the next episode, we'll be diving deeper into what her half-siblings thought may have happened, their splintered family relationship from the start, the impact it had on Britney in her childhood, and how it all ties into something bigger, allegedly.
You know, she was healthy and she was doing fine and her career was going great. So, I mean, there was just no getting ready for this, you know, just out of the blue. I mean, it shook me right down to the core. You know, I just didn't anticipate my 32-year-old sister passing before me.
A theory that was heavily supported by her father, beyond the possible poisoning. And although it sounds like something right out of some kind of dramatic thriller, it may actually be the one missing piece to the puzzle that makes everything else make sense.
After the government had attacked my entire family and I, just for my simple act of making a report to the FBI, they even called me a domestic terrorist. And that in itself was pretty outrageous, because the basis for their designation, according to their own writings, was the so-called derogatory statements against the government, which pretty much means my report that it embarrassed the government is all it took for them to call me a domestic terrorist.
A lot of strange things happened in the summer of 2009, including one of Sean Combs' most infamous white parties, co-hosted with Ashton Kutcher, very shortly after Michael Jackson had passed, but before Britney, where it seemed some young celebrities were just never the same after. So what really happened to Brittany Murphy? What kind of drugs, pharmaceutical or otherwise, were in her system? Was Simon an ally, or an accomplice under a darker agenda? What about her mother, and the strange companionship between her and Simon after Britney's passing? What was really going on in her final days?
You know, I got to thinking that this still just doesn't make sense to me. Her death was so strange and so bizarre that I just wanted to do a little bit of digging. Both of these people claim to be holistic in one documentary, but then they've got all this prescription medication, and Britney doesn't do drugs, yet over-the-counter pills were found in her system. It's all very strange, and again, just not to beat a dead horse, but it doesn't add up.
The big old world will pass us by. So many things we could do instead. Get what you want with your lucky eyes. Faster, kill fast, just a pussycat. Those hyenas are not your friends. Honey, you know where the world is at. Come on with me when the party ends.